Hello everyone and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 290. Today is Sunday, September 15th, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. I'm like distracted by my flippy-do hair, but got it. I've almost taken care of everything that I needed to do today, so not too bad. I've committed now to staying awake until closer to a time where I might sleep through the night. Because I got up at 3 a.m. Central Time to get to the airport. But such is life. So this means that I can be here, record a podcast this week, so not too bad. Whereas like right now I'm just sort of like, awkwardly in the middle of the road. Interesting. It'll be okay. It appears that I am even in the middle of a stitch. Super exciting. So I'm trying to think whether or not this actually got very much love last week. It might not have. But this is my V-neck boxy that I am knitting out of some seriously luxurious yarn. And it is a Hohi Locatelli pattern. I am participating in the Hohi Fall Cal. Got sucked into that vortex. It's possible that this is just gonna end up going on a break for a little bit until, it's possible. But I will have finished a row on the podcast, so that won't be too terrible. So I am knitting this with two yarns held together. One of the strands is Shibui Silk Cloud, which is, I believe it's a 70-30 mohair silk. And then the other one is Shibui Pebble, and that is merino, cashmere, and silk blend. So, also very nice. And the pebble, I think, is one ply merino cashmere and the other ply silk, based on how the dye took. So, it is turning out fairly well. I finished the short rows, which was exciting, and the short rows are sort of making the slope of the shoulders, because we're not really like this. I wonder whether or not YouTube will put that as my, or what would it be? YouTube, when you record something and upload it onto YouTube, it will give you 3 stills, and generally I try to pick one that, whatever, I don't know, it's probably the least unflattering. And if I'm smiling, I'd probably pick that one, so. But it would be entertaining to be like, so. So far so good. At some point I'll have to look at the misdirections again and figure out how many of these welts I'm making, before I just sort of knit plain for a while. I ended up carrying this with me on my trip, and then didn't end up working on it at all. So, mysteries of the universe. Like, what would be? My other project got way more love, which is cool. Almost to the end. So, what I really like about this project is what an interesting fabric I'm getting by holding these yarns together. So that's been really cool. What I am maybe less excited about is just that it's another sweater on size 2 or whatever on 3mm needles, US 2.5s. So, as you do,
So in some ways it is a little bit similar to my other project on my needles, and I will need to get this a good bit further before I will be ready to switch it up a little bit and actually start working it around, for example. Because I will need the armhole depth, and I'm not even close right now. So part of that I think just depends on how much boring knitting time I get, which it could be. I don't know. I'm taking some vacation days next week, so it is an option that I could knit with wild abandon. So, at some point I'll have to check and see what the count's supposed to be and go from there. Anything else? Oh, this is the second one that I'm knitting. I am in some ways cloning it, in other ways not. What would it be? I do have so the black is Abyss and the blue is Blueprint. And then I have a silver colorway that I could use for all of like the edges of the sweater, for example, which could look really nice. So you have like a neckband and the little cuffs and the hem. So that is definitely a possibility. It seems like I used like a lot of yarn on the one I made because I made it long enough to be compatible with leggings. But this one is certainly plenty wide. So it's a lot of sweater. My host was a little bit mystified about it. So, not too crazy, but I know, it's just turning out really cool. I don't know if you can even really see. I'll just sort of hold it there gently until it's in focus. So, one thing I'll have to decide is whether or not when I edge it, do I not hold the mohair silk to sort of take down. But this has like no prickle factor whatsoever, so I'm probably gonna hold the mohair silk everywhere. Like, like this, like it's like a Angora fluffy feeling, not like a Lopi fluffy feeling. So, not too crazy. Alright. I don't know where I left off on this. Maybe this might be far from anywhere right now. Ooh, it even fell off the needles a little bit. Oh, bother. So, most of my love this week went to this project, which is the Vitamin D, which is a Heidi Kermeyer pattern that I'm knitting out of Claudia Hand Paint's Contemplation Lace in the Lone Star colorway. It was really sort of cute. The Dear Sweet Lovable one saw Knitters in the Wild and was trying to get us to talk to each other, and apparently whenever I was not looking, the other knitter was very curious about what I was doing. But then when I would look up, she wouldn't be looking at me, so I was like, whatever. So, whatever. Misconnections. And then it was interesting because on the flight today there was a woman knitting, I believe, a feather and fan. So, and she was being really smart, and she actually, until she got to the color work, was knitting it flat, and then she joined in the round after she started the color work, so not too crazy. But yeah, no, I was just creeping behind her knitting on my vitamin D. So, I feel like this is gonna go on for a long time. I still have all 3 balls. My first ball is definitely depleted now, but it seems like I could be knitting this for quite some time. Whatever. And I will have to maybe be a little bit more careful than I was initially planning. I read through all of the instructions, and then saw that there is actually an edging that goes from whatever point to point all the way around the whatever. So you do a massive pickup, and it's some rows of garter. I think some, like, I haven't checked the other projects. I'm pretty sure that the one I tried on didn't have the garter border, but I'm pro garter border because, like the stockinette rolls, you can't see my first little eyelet. If I had garter there, then it would stay better. So I'm gonna do that. But it means that my plan of trying to use every last possible scrap of yarn will be slightly complicated. Because I will need to reserve a decent amount of yarn for those super long rows. At least I'll be knitting. And Heidi's really smart about how she starts that, so I appreciate that as well. What it will mean is that I will need to break out my Shagu mini set because I was knitting the garter on whatever 2.5mm needles, so I was dropping down 2 sizes to do that, so I'll have to repeat that again. I don't know if that was just because that was what was convenient in my bag at the time, but I'll be consistent. And then I may ignore her pickup counts, because it's, here's my knitter pro tip for the week. Not that I normally have, but whatever. If you're doing a pickup where you're having stitches come out of stitches like this, the ratio of how many you pick up versus how many there are available to pick up is the difference between, or what would it be? It's the ratio between your row gauge and your stitch gauge. You're like, wow. So when people say like 3 of every 4 or something like that, that's sort of referencing their own row gauge. So you should measure your row gauge and be like, oh, in whatever 4 inches I have 28 rows, and in 4 inches I have 32 stitches, and so you'll know you'll have to pick up whatever, like skip every 4th one or something like that, or like pick up, or sorry, if we're going 28 and like 32 or something like that, that would be pick up 7 for every 8 or something like that. So it could be close to the ratio that you would expect, or it could be a little bit off. The only thing that might throw a monkey wrench in that is that I'd be picking up with the smaller needle size, and I don't necessarily have broad swaths of of that fabric available to measure, because that's garter and that's annoying. Because it's a little bit harder to get at that row gauge versus stitch count, so I might just assume that it's close.
or try holding the gauge ruler up to some of the in-between stuff. Whatever. But yeah, no, I just, when I was on the airplane, I did my 3rd row of eyelets for this guy. And I feel like I still have like half the yarn left. But I don't know, perhaps now that we're in this another stage of like constantly growing sweater, maybe this will run through yarn fairly swiftly. But this has received quite a lot of love because I think, I don't remember where I was last week. I might have been in the short rows. Maybe I hadn't even started the short rows yet, I don't know. I definitely was like in a short row trap at some point where you just keep knitting because short rows. There's never a good stopping point. So we shall see how everything ends up working out. I'm hoping that this latest increase round ended up breaking up some of the pooling that I was getting, but I don't know. It seems like my purples and greens are landing on top of each other, and some of my light blues are landing on top of each other right now. But since it's the bottom of the sweater, I also care less, so I don't care as much as the sleeves, for example. I'm close. So, I would say the only thing that's been annoying about this project, which you saw earlier, was linen yarn's slippery, metal needles are slippery, and the combination of the two can result in sadness pretty easily. Do I care enough that I would buy a set of 3mm linen needles? Probably not. We're just going to deal with its slip, whatever, all of its slipperiness, by trying to be more careful. It's not like it's hard to put on, but what would it be? The linen doesn't want to stick to itself either, so like when you drop stitches, sometimes it runs like a bad pair of nylons. So, as you do. So, I will have to figure that out, or figure out the better way of doing it. It may be the case where, I don't know, I keep feeling like I have like I'm using the wrong project bags for stuff. So, it's definitely coming together. What would it be? But I suppose that it's still like a literally halter top right now. And of course, it jumps off the needles there too. It's like one does not simply show off the sweater for everyone. So far so good. None of this has been unrecoverable for sure. It's just annoying when it happens. And I'll have to figure it out, so. Seems like it's not without danger to try on though. But we will throw caution to the wind and try. Hey. Okay. So got sleeve. We got the other sleeve. Okay, so there's quite a lot of sweater that needs to be knit here, but it's looking cute.
and I can't unfurl it all the way because the needles aren't long enough, but I can see how having a nice juicy garter border would do this a lot of good. So, not too crazy. That's looking pretty good. So, at some point I will have an awesome linen sweater, but not today. Because there's so much yarn. Oh, the yarn. I think I'll feel a lot better once I may weigh how much I have left after I use up this one, just to see where I'm at. But it looks like I have plenty of knitting left to go on this sweater, and that it is probably unrealistic of me to think that it's almost done, because obviously I have oodles of yarn. Oh, whatever. Should be cute. So that ended up getting most of my love. And that was fine. Spinning wise, I did get a little bit more done on what I think is the russet, or it's definitely, the color is russet, and I suspect the fiber is Shetland, but I actually left that out. It doesn't look all too different than before. I haven't weighed it or quantified it at all. It's possible that I will be doing some spinning and heckling later today. But it's probably not going to get too much love as you do. I don't know, depends on what I need to accomplish in the upcoming days. So, I tried to pack this on my trip, and then I decided that I had limited space, and so I didn't. But this is the lumber bat that Wild Onion made for the Tour de Fleece festivities, and I may start this on my next trip, because it's possible the podcast is going to end up going to every 2 weeks. What would it be? Or I'm lugging my laptop around? I don't know. I'm not sure whether or not I feel snarky enough to record in the Dear Sweet Lovable One's 350 square foot studio. It is primarily comprised of fish tank. As you do. So, I do have some stash positions, because I cannot visit my mother-in-law without receiving yarny gifts, which, as far as mother-in-laws are concerned, is a virtue. So, she is super sweet, and she hates mailing things. But she ended up giving me this gobstopper of lollipop yarn, and I've actually never used lollipop yarn before. And this is the Kodachrome color, which has 4 rows of each color of the rainbow, which is very exciting. So, 7 striper. And yeah, should be fun. And this is the quintessential base, which is Navy 20 superwash merino nylon. 410 yards and 100 grams. So that was super sweet. It looks to be Luette gems as the base of choice. And then I had to laugh about this. So this hadn't arrived yet the last time that we got to see each other face to face, which I think was in July. But this was a knitting cup she gave me that says serious balls. So I'll have to give this a try and see how everything works out on it. I also probably need to get a brush too. But it has this silicone lid, and then it's ceramic, so should be cool. And then it is dishwasher safe as well. So that probably fits better in my swinging lifestyle. Who knows? And then for the most important thing, which was that I called her and was like, oh crap. Like, I need some yarn for my grandpa's socks. And I ended up bringing 2 back. Because I had 3. And then I realized that one of the 3 was 100% wool, and I'm like, I didn't feel comfortable doing that, because, like, this is like a high-stress sock situation. Like, I don't wear my socks that much. He wears the socks I make him more than... like, what would it be? So, this is for serious, so I know that this works really great. So, my mother-in-law brought 11? It might have been more than that. It was a lot of skeins of yarn. And then I sort of sorted through them, and I had Admiral Indervolk. This is Baristo, and this is Drachenblatt. So, I have decided, or what would it be? I couldn't pick between them. I was planning on just whatever, getting one, but I'm like, so these are both colors that I think are really awesome, because most of the joy in this is, what would it be? Me enjoying the colors that I'm into with, because I know my grandfather only wears them to bed. So, if he's not into purple socks, he's into socks, so he's going to accept this. And this one's just like so, this is such a gorgeous color. It is much nicer in sunlight, which probably doesn't help my grandpa. Whatever, the colors are for me, the wool is for him. So this has like black, a dark teal, and then a very blurply midnighty navy color in it. So this is the navy blurple end, this is the teal end, and then the black is in the middle, but so this is going to be really gorgeous. This one's going to be high contrast, so it has a very orangey red on this side, and then like sort of a blue and navy, and then like purple where they meet. So this is going to be really awesome too. This is, I think, the color that the original Hitchhiker was knit out of. So gorgeous. So, looking forward to that. Will I cast on immediately? Well, it was funny. I was doing my normal, like, I showed up to work. I had the top down on the convertible post on Instagram. And then my grandmother, like, whatever, like, writes her little message, because she's on Instagram. Is like, have you started Grandpa's socks yet? So, I need to do this. I was discussing with this with the Dear Sweet Lovable one. He's like, yeah, no, they don't know about those boundaries. You just need to make the socks. So, as soon as I finish them, they're getting put in the mail. Does that mean I need to immediately wind yarn? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. But I am, what would it be? I let her know that I was getting the yarn. It's a group effort.
So I may have some socks to show you next time. I feel like that will end up being higher president's knitting, and that'll mean I'll kick the poor vitamin D out of my sock bag. I'll have to find a different bag to contain the vitamin D. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but whatever, it'll be fine. So, soon there will be socks. I think I'm going to make the Drachenblatt first, because I just think this color is absolutely stunning. I was very, very excited to get a chance to work with it. Excuse me. Is it possible that I could usually buy it on the shop? Possibly, but it wasn't like I was browsing. I don't know, I have hiccups. So, let's see. I won't be recording next week. I won't be able to record the week after. And then it's possible that I'm going to be kicked into an every other week cadence for the foreseeable future. So, could it have been other ways? Maybe, but whatever. Until victory, guys. Until victory. So, what would it be? Now that, whatever, we're not paying a mortgage, plane tickets. So, I'm going to be in San Francisco quite a lot, and that'll be fun. Should be entertaining, and I'm making most of this first trip in a while. I think the last time I was in San Francisco was, I guess it was sometime in May, but the last time I spent some actually time in the city was in April, so there's going to be a lot more time there, so that's cool. Maybe I will see about hanging out with my knitterly friends, since we'll be there more on the regular. We shall see. Let's see, anything else? Not that I can think of. So, I will return on the 28th or 29th. And then we'll be in October, so I'll at least sketch work for today. And like got something for waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, so. So, with that, I hope that you guys have a lovely couple of weeks, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care guys, bye-bye.